Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Roundabout. I'm going to maybe wait just a few moments to get started here, but wanted to go ahead and let you all in and say hello. This will be the last Roundabout that I will be hosting. We're certainly hoping that it will continue. In the future, we might have some guest hosts for a time or two, but the intent is that it will continue.
Hi, Nelda. This is Janelle.
Hi, Janelle.
Hi. You're going to be missed, but I hope you enjoy.
Thank you.
Yes.
And I see Doug is on as well. I just added you to my contacts. So you might be hearing this more than once, but I think that won't hurt anything either. But my intent here is to talk about the same kinds of things that I talk about when I go and visit with cities and counties. If it's been a while since you've heard it, if you have heard it before, things might be a little bit different. I've added and subtracted things over the years. But this will be a little bit different too, in that we can actually go to some of these websites that I often talk about and actually see what the website looks like. And I hopefully that will encourage you all to certainly take advantage of these resources, and then by having this recorded and put out on YouTube, then this can be a reference for anyone in the future of some resources that you may have forgotten about. So I'm going to start sharing my screen. I'm going to also welcome Lindsay Francis, our LTAP director. She is actually leaving LTAP as well. She will be going to work for KDOT. Her last day is next Friday. So we wish her well there. She's getting back into the ITS world, which was, I think, maybe her first love or second love anyway. But anyway.
Second love.
Yeah,
Hi,
okay.
everyone. Oops, I thought I had my camera on. Good morning, everyone. And thank you for the introduction, Nelda. I hope everyone gets a lot from the call today.
Thanks. And all right. Now I'm going to share my screen. So again, if I've been to visit with you, or maybe even if I haven't, this might look familiar. Again, I've updated it from time to time. The last time I updated this was back in June. It seems to be a pretty good document now, so I think we'll stick with it for a while. It, I think, is going to be placed in the documents or something in the chat. Maybe, I'm not positive. I know Kara just put it on our website under local field liaison. I'll show you that as we go through. So you have access to it there as well. Anyway, let's get started. I'm gonna start with the link to our LTAP website. So here we go. The biggest thing I like to encourage people to do on this website is go down to the very bottom where it says stay in touch and subscribe to get our newsletters and things like that. It's just how you're going to hear about everything that we're up to. There's also our social media accounts that you can click on there if you're interested. And the other thing I guess I sometimes forget about, but there's survey. Right now, it's just a quick one question survey. Just share any information, any feedback that you have. But if there's a class that you would like to see offered, or ideas, whatever, feel free to use that at any time. Here before too long, there'll be a more extensive survey sent out on all of our offerings, and that helps us plan for the upcoming year. I'm going to start with the next link is training. That's what we're pretty much known for, so it's a good place to start. We'll start first with the training schedule. One thing I really like about this, so this will be the fall schedule that's going to be starting later this month. Thank you, Kara, for putting the document in. Okay. This may not work as I planned. Maybe by doing Zoom, maybe it's slowing my connection down. Or maybe not. Maybe I just didn't click it right. Anyway, here we go. This is what I wanted. So, training schedule. Again, this is for August, September, October. What I really like about this is that you can click on the class that you're interested in, and it will take you to the page that actually talks about the class, has a course description, who the instructor is, and the different class options. So then, okay, I want to take the one in Salina. So you just click on that. Looks like there's 13 people already signed up for the class. It's going to be held from 8:30 to 3:30. Lunch is provided. And then you just click register to register, and the cost for the class. So that's as simple as that is. I would point out too that there are some classes that are offered virtually. So those are available at any time. They have a cost. I always say this, I don't know how much it is. Lindsay does, she can chime in, but I'm thinking $25, $30, somewhere in that range probably. And then another option, so these are scheduled classes. We try to schedule them throughout the state. We'll talk about these levels in a little bit. That's related to the Rhodes Scholar Program. But another option is if you have a class that you'd like to take, whether it's one of these or one that's not being offered currently, if you contact us, we will work on setting up an on-demand class where the instructor comes to you, you provide a location, you get a free, one free registration, and yeah, they come to you. I will note that this references Megan Hazelwood. She is no longer at LTAP since the end of May. We have a new training coordinator, Donna Dole, Doel. So her email is just Donna Dole at ku.edu. Or you can always use our generic KUTC underbar training at ku.edu to get in touch with several of us at the same time. Anyway, that's one way you can request that on-demand training. The other thing I was going to point out is that So in the fall, we focus a lot on things that you might be doing over the winter, like that snow and ice control class, for example. In the spring, we focus more on classes that are getting you ready for the upcoming construction and maintenance season. So things more like asphalt road maintenance or gravel road maintenance or culverts and drainage, some of those kinds of things. But we have, I don't know how many are on here, maybe 30 different classes that we could offer. And so this will give you some information if you are wanting to host a class that maybe is not on our schedule. So you can see what those options are. I guess next, I will talk a little bit about one class that I think is a good class, this METCD for technicians. It's a little bit different. It's funded differently. It's funded through the Traffic Assistance Services for Kansas program. I guess it's not showing up on here. It is on here. It is for safety. So they use federal. Sorry, I swear I worked last time. Maybe I just clicked on the wrong link.
Are you trying to get to the task website?
Yeah, it's the one above it. Anyway, so they use federal safety funding. So you're really only paying for the coffee and donuts, which I think is a little silly, but anyway, you are. The class is paid for. I always encourage people if they haven't taken any classes and are just starting out, I think the METCD for technicians is a great class to start with because it's safety for both the worker and the traveling public. So before someone learns how to fill a pothole or clean out a culvert or whatever, we want them to be safe. So I think the METCD for technicians class is a good one. It is actually co-taught by KU and K-State professors, Eric Fitzsimmons with K-State and Dr. Schrock with KU. So anyway, they're happy to go out and do on-demand classes as well if you are interested in getting them to come to you. For those on-demand classes, they ask that we have at least 15 people scheduled. And if you don't have 15 people in your agency that are available to attend, then you can invite neighboring cities or counties or tribes or townships. And if you don't know those contacts, let us know. We have an extensive list of contacts that would be happy to come to your classes, to a class closer to you. Moving on down, so I do this when I'm out to keep myself on task here. So next is some vulnerable road user road safety assessment training. So this is focused on looking at locations from a pedestrian and bicyclist standpoint. This is a program that we have contracted with KDOT to provide over 3 years. We're now in the second year of that training, and have one more year to go. The first part of that is this online training, free. Again, just click there to get information on that and get you started on that. So the intent is that first online training take somewhere between 2 and 4 hours. Probably would be struggling to get through in 2 hours, but everybody should probably be finished within 4. But it's set up in 10 modules, so you can stop and start any of those as you have time. So don't think you're limited to trying to find a 4-hour time frame to do that. You can do that as you have time, and then the goal being that that you would finish the program by participating in a field training, and we're open to locations for those field trainings. We had a couple earlier this year, and we're happy to lead more of those. Then we have a great organization called the National LTAP Association. So there are LTAPs in every state. They're funded by the Federal Highway Administration and the state DOTs. The state has to put in at least as much as the feds do. In Kansas, KDOT has put in more for things, more than they're required to, for things like my position. So anyway, so at the national level, everybody operates a little bit differently, and with the funding that they have. This is something that the national group has put together, both LTAP and TTAP. TTAP is the Tribal Technical Assistance Program. We work together a lot. Anyway, this is, I think I looked, there's over almost 900 different articles and trainings here that you can search on. If you're interested in, say, gravel roads or something, you can do a search and it will pull up some different options for you. We click on, say, this one. You can see that it's an hour-long class. These, I believe, are all free. Some of them do require a code to get into. Some of the ones that came from other organizations, but with those codes, you should be able to get into them for free. The other thing, I didn't check this earlier. Okay, good. So if you check it, just search for tailgate. There's another way that I'll show you maybe in a little bit to get to those, but there's 84 different tailgate talks. So I've mentioned tailgate talks when I've been out. Some people give me a little odd look. They don't maybe call them that. So a tailgate talk would be at, say, the beginning of the week or the beginning of the month. Your crew gets together and talks about what might be important for the type of work that you're going to be doing that week or month or whatever. So maybe this time of year, bee stings might be, a topic that you want to cover. 10 to 15 minutes. It looks like this is just a document that you can go over some talking points. Some of them might be short videos, things to kind of get you going for the week. Some agencies are committed to doing tailgate talks every week, and coming up with new talks every week can sometimes be a struggle. So I think this is a great resource for coming up with different things to discuss. So that's what that is. But again, there's 800 different resources there that can be of use to you. And then Kansas LTAP specific, we have also through our website about 400 or more documents that are online that you can either print yourself. I mean, you can click on, again, you can search. I'm going to go back to Gravel, just to show you that there are even more options for gravel roads topics in our own resources. I want the I guess maybe not be on here. Maybe I didn't search correctly, but there's oh, that's grader operator is what I'm thinking. Is one of our most popular guidebooks that we have. There we go, field guide for grader operators. So again, you click on the title. There's a link to the document so that you can view it, read it online. Just like if you had the hard copy, or you can add it to your cart to request a hard copy be sent to you, or however many you want. I guess you have to actually get into the system, which is not difficult, but I'm not going to do that. Anyway, they will send those to you. So just another option there. And then finally, for the LTAP, we have the equipment loan program. So with the equipment loan program, this operates like a library where you can borrow items for free. You'll see them all listed here. And you can borrow them for, I generally say 2 weeks to 2 months. If you know how to use an item, let's use the retroreflectometer as an example. I guess it's not working right at the moment. Anyway, okay. So if you know how to use it, you just put in the time frame that you're interested in borrowing it for, and they will send it to you. Now, if you don't know how to use an item, the one I usually use as an example is there's a radar counter, yes. That it's one that you need to get aimed just correctly so that it picks up the vehicles. This is a good one to use on gravel roads because it doesn't have that pneumatic tube that can get eaten out by the gravel road. So the radar counter is a good one, but you do need to get it aimed correctly. If you don't know how to use it, haven't used it before, we have trainers that will bring the item to you and help you get it set up that first time. And then once you feel comfortable, they'll leave it with you and you use it and then either send it back or send it on to the next agency that has requested it. As Lindsay put in the notes, this page is almost ready with an update where you can actually check the availability of the item and then request to borrow it as well. Trying to think anything else there. We do have 3 retroreflectometers now. We used to just have one and got used a lot. It's a very popular item. And so we got some additional funding, and now we have 3 of those that we can loan out. So hopefully there's not as much waiting. And again, several of the others, we have more than one of each device, especially the counters.
And I will say the 3 retroreflectometers that Nelda mentioned are sign retroreflectometers.
Yes.
And we also have 1 pavement marking retroreflectometer.
That's true.
It's such a mouthful to say that the name of that. I feel like they should rename it just for the sake of not
checking
getting.
checking if it shines back at you. But yes, I usually remember the pavement marking retroreflectometer, but anyway, yes. So that's what we have there. I'm going to pause just a moment here. This is kind of the end of the LTAP specific items, and see if anybody has any questions about any of those before I move on. I believe you can unmute. If not, at least raise your hand or put something in the chat or whatever. Feel free, you can do it anytime. Just know that's an option. All right. Next, I'm going to move on. I label it KDOT, though it's a lot about funding, because I think a lot of cities and counties are interested in that. So first of all, here we have just a link to the local projects website. This is where I worked most recently before coming to LTAP. I know there's a lot of good information here for cities and counties, especially project related. It looks different than when I was there. They updated their website this spring, so it's a little bit different, but we'll talk about the funding in just a little bit. There's a link to forms that you might need if you're going to, if you have a project with KDOT, to say, report the status of the utility relocations or your right-of-way acquisition. There's policies, specifically pipe policies, that you can refer to if you are interested in information on selecting a consultant using the qualifications-based selection process. There's information there. If you need to submit your county engineer's report, there's a few out there, I think, that haven't yet from last year. Please go in and do that. But if you want to see the most recent report, you can do that and see what others have reported as well as yourself, and some bridge inspection information. Then the programs that they manage are listed there. I like to see the project manager map to see who's working where. So if you want to say, okay, I'm in Dickinson County, so Dmitry Lomachenko is your project manager for projects in your area. Or if you're in Allen County, Hugh Bogle. Anyway, and then for the cities that can administer their own federal aid projects, Dave Northup manages most of those projects. Jenny does out in Junction City, and Matt Graham in the Wichita area in Sedgwick County. So just interesting to see that. We're going to talk about these federal aid essentials later, but this just as a note, there's another way to get to them. And this is the training that is actually through LTAP, but it is KDOT training certification for their programs. We just manage it because we're set up to do that. So right away, project manager and pre-project certification programs, and then just all their contact information. Then, going back up, I wanted to point out the funding information. So there's a link to the local opportunities guide. And we'll show that real quick. I was looking at it earlier, so it takes me. So anyway, so this is all the funding that KDOT has for cities and counties. You may be familiar with some types of funding, things like City Connecting Link Improvement Program called CCLIP, or Federal Fund Exchange, or the different types of highway safety improvement programs like high-risk rural roads, for example, some of the pedestrian bicyclist type things like transportation alternatives, which includes safe routes to schools. But as you can see, there's many more programs that you may not be as familiar with. Things like economic development, for example. So for each of these, it's going to talk about the goal of the program. And so this is, I'm just using this as an example, but it is funding transportation improvements when you have a new or expanded business. This is one that does not have a call for projects. So it's available year round. It talks about who is eligible to apply for this program and what you can use it for, what kind of funding is available, what your match requirements would be. And probably one of the most important ones is a program contact. In this case, Michelle Needham, and name and phone number, and the web page that is associated with that. So for each one of those programs, you have all that information. And so I would say if you are looking for some funding, feel free to look around in this document. It's also linked specifically from that useful links page. You don't have to go through local projects, but to find funding for something that you might be interested in. Other than that, I think that's probably the biggest thing on that webpage that you would be interested in. Then a couple other KDOT things. So there's the Traffic Engineering Assistance Program. If I was sticking around, I would say I'm happy to help with safety or operational type concerns on a small basis. And I would assume that whoever takes over after me will do that as well. But KDOT also has a program that is called the Traffic Engineering Assistance Program. We call it TEAP, that you can apply for. As far as I know, they've had funding for all requests that they've had for quite a few years now. So that shouldn't be an issue. As you can see, this is a very simple form. I always say your name, your name, the location, and what your concern is, and that's basically what it is. City, county, if you know the KDOT district, the location, so they know where they're talking about and what your concern is, and then just a way to contact you. You hit submit and it will be automatically submitted to them. And then what happens is they have 5 consultants on call. And so they will assign it to one of those consultants. The consultant will then contact you, which is why we really need good information there, to decide what type of studies, information gathering that they need to do to adequately perform a traffic engineering study. But then they will do a traffic engineering study for you for free. KDOT pays for it with federal safety funds. It's free, but I don't want to give you the impression that it is quick. I mean, obviously this first part is pretty quick and easy, but especially depending on the type of study, it might take a little while. The example I especially like is a school study. So if you requested a school study right now, it's probably going to be fairly quick, because by the time they get it assigned they can go right out and school will be in session. They can get their data and make recommendations. However, if you requested something in, say, March or April, it might take a while for them to get assigned the project. And then by the time they get it assigned, school's almost out. They're going to want to wait until school is in session again to do their data collection. And then they'll need to write their report and recommendations after that. So in that case, it is going to take a little bit longer. I generally say 6 months from the time you requested it to getting recommendations, but obviously that can vary quite a bit depending on the scope and location of the project, of the study. So anyway, just know that that's out there and a great resource. The local infrastructure planning tool is for counties. So if you don't happen to be working for a county, you can ignore this part. But if you do, this tool will help you make decisions, plan for how you're going to maintain your network. So as you can see, this doesn't tell us a whole lot. It tells us that there's a lot of bridges out there. I'm partial to Lynn County. It's where I grew up, and it's a little in between. It's not a huge county, but it's not too far south of Kansas City, so it has some interesting aspects. So from this, you can see, first of all, if there are any load posted bridges, they will show up. We don't really need that right now. You can see the condition of the bridges and whether they're, we don't want state owned. We just want county owned. Now, some cases, I don't think there's any non-county owned ones there, but some cases there might be. So you can see, first of all, information that they have collected when they do their bridge inspections on that particular bridge. But you can also see, besides just bridges, you see the number of county-owned roadways, both paved and unpaved. They have 200 miles of paved and 727 gravel, 34 earth. And the condition of their county-owned bridges. There's a lot more information here. You can compare if you want to look at, say, a neighboring county is Anderson County over here to the west. And they only have 100 miles of paved road, but they have more gravel. Anyway, there's a lot of information. You can do this future scenario planner where, okay, what if I changed one thing? How is that going to affect, say, if I increase my mill levy, how much is that going to get me? Well, if I add 1 mill, that corresponds to $126,000. Well, by doing that, maybe I can do another 6 miles of roadways or something. Anyway, whatever. It's a tool. It uses the information from your county engineer's report. KDOT developed this tool with a consultant for your benefit, and so they would like you to use it. We already talked about the local program opportunities guide. Next, we have active transportation. So this includes funding, things like transportation alternatives, or this selection here is funding your plan. But there's also many other good pieces of information about pedestrian, bicyclist, rolling types of resources. They have a a webinar series themselves that has great information. We talked about that road safety assessment training. Here's another link to more information about that program that links to our website as well for registering for it. Anyway, a lot of good information on pedestrian bicyclist resources. Some agencies don't realize that they can get new or updated city or county maps. So there's a link here to KDOT's mapping resources. Probably the simplest is if you want a city map. This takes you to their ArcGIS web application that is simple to use. Just takes a moment to get pulled up here, which we will do. It's still loading, I think, but yeah, there we go. So you can either click on a location or, again, we'll put in my hometown, Blue Mound, Kansas, here in Lynn County. And you can, well, here we go. Yeah, I missed that extra click. And then you get the official map put out by KDOT, so you can print it yourself or save it or whatever. You can do that for cities, counties, with this type of an application. Then there's other types of maps out there: functional classification, national highway system, speed limits, those kinds of things, traffic count maps, and then some other tools that you can use as well. A lot of information out there that a lot of people don't realize is out there. And this one, I'm going to be very quick using it so I don't get distracted, because I think this is another great tool. I like getting straight to the summary dashboard. So this is the crash data dashboard put together by the Drive to Zero Coalition's work. It's showing all the fatal and serious injury crashes that have happened in the state of Kansas for a 5-year period. In this case, it's going to come up here soon. It's going to say it's 2019 to 2023. That's the most recent data they have available. And so again, showing all the crashes, fatal and serious injury that have happened throughout the state. There's a lot of ways to look at it. Again, I won't go into it. Just know it's very interesting. You can zoom in on the particular area that you're concerned about and get information on like time of day, day of week. Obviously, if you see a particular location that has a lot of crashes at a particular spot, you would be wise to look at that spot to see if there's something going on there that you can improve. But by looking at the bigger picture of a particular, of like all the types of crashes in your county, for example, or your city, over time, you can see that maybe there's a trend that you didn't realize. The example I like to give is maybe all of your, or a great majority of your crashes are happening on Saturday night from 11 o'clock to 2 o'clock in the morning. Well, if you see that that's what's happening, maybe you can talk with your local law enforcement about increasing enforcement during that time that might affect the number of crashes that are happening. Or maybe you'll see that all of your crashes are at uncontrolled intersections where you don't have a stop sign or whatever. So you might think, maybe we need to look at those better and think about is this the best way to handle those locations. So anyway, a lot of information there. I encourage you to check it out. And then similarly, there's a map for vulnerable road users. Again, people outside of their vehicle. So this could be somebody who was intending to walk or bike down the street, but it can also be somebody who was in their car and had a flat tire and got out to change their tire. It happens to be on the traffic side, and someone came by and struck them while they were there. That would still be considered a vulnerable road user crash. So with this, again, you can zoom in on your location. Since Blue Mound probably doesn't, I haven't looked, but Blue Mound probably doesn't have many pedestrian and bicyclist crash. Actually, this isn't the crashes. This is the risk level or the priority corridors. So this is Topeka. So priority 1 is corridors that are on both the high injury network, meaning that there had been higher number of injuries there than would be expected, and the high risk network. And risk is things like speed limit, volume of traffic, distance from a school, or distance from a hospital are both related to risk. Obviously, the closer to a school or the farther away from a hospital increases those risks. So that's that's high risk network. So level 1 is both injuries and risk. Level 2 is on one or the other. I'm sorry, it's corridor. Yeah, on the highest level of both of those. Priority level 3 is one or the other being high, and level 3 is risk is high, level 4 is injuries are high. So anyway, you can go in and see. So again, it's going to show all those schools that are in the city, both K through 12 and higher education, and then also any hospitals that are in the area. But you can click on a corridor and see that this particular corridor on 21st Street is priority 1, risk score, those kinds of things. So again, a lot of information there. And it's great to have access to this information. Then I'm going to get to, we'll do these real quick. The Infrastructure Hub is a great resource for funding opportunities more at the federal level. So there for a while, and I still do, try to keep track of funding availability at the federal level, but really at this point, the Infrastructure Hub is your best resource. You can, where was that? Grant funding opportunities. So here's a list right now of all the funding opportunities that they have available in August. And one thing I would point out, here's another way of looking at that same thing. So this is for all types of infrastructure that were included in the infrastructure federal law. So cybersecurity, energy, resilience, transportation, water. Obviously, I'm most interested in transportation. And then if we want to look at local governments, then right now there are 3 opportunities available for local governments in transportation. Couple Bridge, and I looked at this one earlier. It's related to transit. So you can go to those and see that that transit could be rail or, heavy rail, commuter rail, light rail. So it still may be something that you're interested in. Gives you some information about it. Anyway, great resource. The other thing is most of those programs have some sort of a local match required if it's a federal program. The Build Kansas Fund, I'm not going to click on these because I see we're running out of time, but the Build Kansas Fund will provide almost all of the local match requirements. So if you have a project at the federal level that you're looking at, be sure to apply for the Build Kansas Fund match to go along with that. Before you get to that, if you are needing assistance with writing a grant, the Grant Assistance Program will provide funding to hire a consultant to write the grant for you. It's a reimbursement program, but my understanding is they have set aside enough funding that they intend to be able to fund the requests that they get. So you fill out a simple application, and once they agree to it, then you have a consultant that you work with, and then they will reimburse you for those costs. So they're really trying to do as much as they can to help you get funding. Technical assistance, they have professionals throughout the state that, that isn't what I was looking for. There was one. I don't know where it is now. But, maybe this is what I wanted. Yes. So they have people in each of the areas of the state that are familiar with your area and can help you best figure out what type of funding you might be eligible for and would best suit your needs. The last 2 proven safety countermeasures are, we talked about those actually 2 months ago at our Roundabout. So feel free to go back and watch that webinar on YouTube, but it's 28 things that the Federal Highway Administration has said you don't have to wonder if these are going to make things safer. They will. It's just whether it's appropriate for your location. For each one, they're going to provide information on the device itself, the safety benefits, and other related resources and things. So another great resource. And finally is the Federal Aid Essentials. These are videos, 5 to 10 minutes long. None of them are more than 10 minutes. So don't get too stressed out about that. You can narrow it down. I picked project development earlier. Maybe by clicking this, it'll go quicker. I happened to choose this one, this FHWA. It's a form, but it's one that I just saw recently that the legislature is considering changing some requirements related to inclusion of this form in project documents in the future. So it might be interesting if you hear if the legislature does pass that and you might want to know a little bit more about it. You could watch this video. You can click on the, oh, that's a script, but there's a link, here we go, link to the form itself. You can find other topics to look at there along with that. Okay, that got us through. I'm going to stop. Let me stop sharing. Okay. Is there anything anybody else has questions about, whether it's this particular document or LTAP in general, how we can help, what the plan is. I will say that with Lindsay leaving, we have hired a new LTAP director that will start. Again, Lindsay's last day is the 15th. So starting the 18th, Rebecca Bilderback
You got it.
is going to be the new director. I have not met her yet, but looking forward to that. My position is still advertised. It's great. I hope they get so many applications that they can choose the best to work with everyone. But being able to get out and see the state of Kansas, visit with wonderful people throughout the state who are just trying to make their streets and sidewalks and everything better. And working with a great group of people that just want to help everybody. So again, hopefully that gets filled soon. Janelle, oh, okay. Thank you, Janelle, for both Lindsay and I.
Thank you.
All right, if there's nothing else, thanks, Lisa. I will let you all go. And I will say, Doug, hopefully when I see you in a couple weeks, this is going to sound very familiar, but repetition is good. And I also want to say a quick thank you to Carrie Cox, who has facilitated all of these roundabouts. You don't see her, but she's there in the background making it all work. And we really appreciate it. Bye, everybody.
Wait, I guess it's important to say too that the roundabouts will continue.
I did say that at the beginning, but some may come on since then, so that's fine. Yep.
Good. I know we had a brainstorming discussion about topics. So the roundabouts will continue. So you guys please continue to to log into these. We want them to stick around, and you might see some familiar faces every 2 months. So thank you everyone again. Thanks, Nelda. Great job. Thanks, Kara.
Bye.